Previously, you heard my story of why I decided it was time for me to carry a gun. Now it's time to discover why you want to carry a gun. Why is it essential for you to carry a firearm concealed? I ask this question at the beginning of every single class that I teach, and I hear a wide variety of crazy answers from my students. Unfortunately, a lot of the reasons that students give me is because a sheep has recently been attacked by a wolf. And now that sheep realizes that having a firearm really is a necessity in their lives. Recently, I met a young woman who was the victim of a violent rape. Now, since her violent encounter, she's been attending self-defense Krav Maga classes. She's been learning how to shoot in a defensive shooting situation. And finally, she was getting her concealed weapons permit. I could tell by listening to this young woman that she had made the mental decision to never allow something like this to happen again. She has a very strong why, and her why is pushing her to train and develop the skills that she needs to keep herself safe. On the other hand, I meet people every single day who have a very weak why, or no why at all. Now, these people say things like, I only want a carry permit in case I feel like I need a gun that day. Or, I only want a carry permit so that I can have a gun inside of my home. Or, I'm just going to keep the weapon in my car. These individuals have a very weak why. And these are the exact same people that email me a year later because they lost their certificate and now they want to apply for their permit. Unfortunately, these people are sheep, not sheepdogs. And when the wolf attacks, they will never be ready for that violent attack. This type of individual acts as if they're going to get a notification on their phone. Ding! Oh, hey, it says here that I'm going to get attacked by a bad guy today. If you've ever been the victim of a violent attack or witnessed something extremely violent, you know that these situations happen lightning fast, and you're either going to be ready and emerge a victor, or you're going to be what? A victim. The mindset that I really want to discourage you from is the mindset that you're only going to carry the gun if you think you're going to need it. Why does that mindset never work in self-defense? It never works because we never know. We never know when somebody's going to pick you out of a parking lot and say, you know what? We're going to rape that one. They may see your children and say, you know what? We're going to kidnap that one. Or let's carjack that person. This is a young woman shopping at a Walmart. How many times do you think this woman has been to Walmart without incident? I'll bet you it was hundreds, maybe even thousands of times. I highly doubt this young woman thought anything bad was going to happen to her. But she was violently victimized. And I believe she does something wrong in this video.
That's 25-year-old Corey Mosley. You can see walking through the Walmart on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith carrying an aluminum baseball bat. Then Mosley spots an 18-year-old female, alone, looking at CDs. You can see what happens next.
It's a miracle the young lady, was not very, very seriously hurt.
Police say it was a random attack.
There's no patterns, there's no prior relationships, there's no prior contacts,
So what did this young lady do wrong? She was not aware of her surroundings. She was so focused on the CD that she never even noticed that bad guy approaching her. I believe the secret to self-defense is learning how to avoid the threat, which is the art of analyzing your surroundings in search of a potential threat. And once you identify it, getting as far away as possible. Unfortunately, most people in society today are completely oblivious to what is happening around them, which is exactly what the wolves want. Now, I call bad guys wolves because just like their four-legged counterparts, wolves are opportunistic hunters. Just imagine when wolves are deep in the forest. When they're hunting, are they looking to attack the strong and healthy animals? Of course not. The wolves are looking for the weak, the sick, the old, maybe the animals that have strayed a little bit too far away from the herd. And when the moment is right, they attack. Now I want you to imagine the wolves in society. What type of person are the wolves looking to attack? Is it the strong and the healthy? Is it the person who is alert and aware of their surroundings? Of course not. The wolves are looking for the sick, the young, the old, the people that are not paying attention to their surroundings. They are looking for the people who have put themselves into a bad situation. People who are away from the crowds, or people who cannot defend themselves. The wolves in the forest and the wolves in society have many things in common, but the number one thing is that they are both looking for easy prey. Most people in society simply want to pretend that violent things are never going to happen to them, and I call these people sheep. I want you to imagine for a second that you are on your way to work and something like this happens. I want to know what you would do if you were the driver.
There are two very distinct lessons here as we see all these cars that come and they're in this kind of trafficy area. And as this car stops because of all the traffic around him, a gunfight erupts right around this truck where we see two people here, and I have no idea who a bad guy or a good guy is. Doesn't look like there's any good guys here. I don't know what's going on. Have a gun battle around this car full of people, and you see the first person kind of bail out as the bad guys are just shooting at each other again and again and again, and people are trying to get out of this car. The gun battle comes back their way. One of the bad guys is shot pretty badly there. The other bad guy is taking some time to get his gun back in the fight as more people are piling out of the car and trying to stay out of the danger zone. Shots still ringing out around this car as bad guy number 2 is trying to finish off bad guy number 1 with people still inside the car. Think about how long this is if you're inside the car. And finally, bad guy number 1 is finally taken out of the fight, and the fight's taken out of him with a couple of last well-placed shots, and the bad guy number 2 runs off.
What would you have done if you were the driver of this vehicle? You would run that guy over, right? Maybe go backwards down the alley, but you're definitely not just gonna sit there. So why did the driver just sit in one spot? Have you ever heard the term freeze, flight, or fight? I believe the driver froze. I think they were so overwhelmed at what was happening around their vehicle that they simply did not know what to do next. Would you agree that freezing in a violent situation like this is extremely dangerous? So how do we prevent ourselves from freezing in this type of situation? I enlisted in the U.S. Air Force in 2001, just before 9/11. Talk about timing. How many times do you think they would make us train and do the exact same task every single day? We would do the exact same thing hundreds and thousands of times. Why? Why would they make us do the exact same thing so much? The reason was to program our subconscious with exactly what we are supposed to do if confronted in a high-stress situation. To program my brain with exactly what I'm supposed to do if. There's only one way to prevent ourselves from freezing, and it's called training. We have to plan, we have to prepare, and we have to play a mental game called What Would I Do If? The woman in this next video is shopping at a dollar store with her 13-year-old daughter when a wolf grabs a little girl and attempts to kidnap her. Now, there are several people inside of this dollar store during this attempted kidnapping. What do you think these people did to help? They did nothing. Okay, so this is the wolf. Now, one thing that I find really fascinating about this case is after this man was arrested, witnesses told police that it was very odd how he was walking around the store because he wasn't acting like a shopper, and yet they did nothing about it. Now you can see this is a pretty aggressive kidnapping attempt. I feel like the mother is trying, but does it appear to be enough? Personally, I feel like this mother was trying. She was trying to fight and save her kid. But did it appear to be enough? Do you think any of the people that were attacked in these situations thought they were going to be involved in a violent attack that day? Of course not. We never know when we may be the victims of a violent attack. And you really only have two options. You can prepare and train so that when the violent attack occurs, you can dominate it. Or you can bury your head in the sand and become a victim. The choice is yours.